Hi, and welcome to Ask Me Anything. I'm excited to be here today with you. I had gotten some questions around the spring equinox and what does that really mean and what's available and open to us. So springtime is a time of renewal. It's also a time of reflection. And when the spring equinox comes into being, it causes us all to pause for a moment and think about what is it that we want to put into the world, that we want to create, that we want to have within our lives, that we want to experience. So for me, when the spring equinox comes around, I start to think about what have I done and where am I going? And what I so often remember during this time is like flowers. The other day I was walking up my path after being out west for a week. And there were the crocuses that we planted beginning to bloom. There were daffodils just sort of peeking up. I live in the Northeast, so it's still been rather cold here. So it was fun to see these crocuses and daffodils that were all planted last year begin to bloom. And it reminded me that so often when we do energy work, when we do manifestations, when we are being intentional about what we want to create, there tends to be a pause between us putting it out into the universe and then being able to receive it. And one of the things that I noticed that happens quite a lot with some of the people that I work with is that they'll get in the habit of manifesting things quickly. But for the bigger things, if things don't come in so quickly, they'll move on from them. They'll almost forget that they put them out into the universe to manifest. And they'll hold a belief of, oh, well, that didn't happen, so now I'm just going to move on. When in fact, what we have to be clear around is that everything that we put out into the universe does in fact get manifested into our field. But sometimes there's a lag between what's in our field and then what can show itself for us personally. And what's in that lag has to do with some of the beliefs that we're carrying. Maybe we manifested something or put something out there, but we didn't hold strong enough belief around being able to do it or to have it. And so it begins to show up, but we can't even see it because our beliefs aren't aligned with it. I'll give you an example. This woman that I'm working with has had really bad health for the last couple of years. And as she was going on, we were working with some pretty big things. And so between the work we were doing and her experiencing it and seeing it, there was a lag. And in the space of the lag, she wanted to quit. She wanted to say, oh, this really isn't working. And I had to help her reframe it to say, what were the beliefs that got you to ill health? And it was not taking care of herself, doing everything for everyone else, being overwhelmed and overburdened, and not listening to her body. Those were probably the top beliefs. And I said, how many of those beliefs have you shifted? How much have you changed in your life? And she actually changed 2 or 3 of those fundamental beliefs that she had lived with year in and year out. But there were a couple that hadn't been touched yet. And I said, when you think about what you're asking for, these couple of beliefs are really in the way of you being able to fully get what you're asking for. So we began to work on that. And I bring this up to you because so many people, when spring comes, right, you're in the energy of the new. You have a desire to create new things. But what I would say is to go back and reflect on what had you been planting all along, what has bloomed, and what may still be in the process of moving up to bloom. And if you see things that you wanted to create that haven't yet bloomed, ask yourself the question, what is in the way of my seeing this bloom? Is it something that I'm holding on to? Is it a belief that I have that's not allowing me to receive it or to even see it? Or maybe it's just timing, the divine timing for it isn't yet. And so if the divine timing around something that you wanted to create isn't yet, it's not to say throw it away or don't pay attention to it. It's to say, have some patience, do your own internal work on what might be in the way of it showing up. And then keep looking for it, because the more we put our attention on the things that we want, the easier it becomes for those things to show up and be present within our lives. And I know I've talked to you about this before. A lot of people are programmed to think about what they don't want. They have less programming to think about what they do want. So people will come to me all the time and say, I don't want this, I don't want that. But one of the things that you have to know is the universe doesn't hear the don't, because that's the negative. It only hears the positive. So when you say, I don't want to work 90 hours a week, the universe is actually hearing, I do want to work 90 hours a week. So please don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you do want. What is it that you would like to create in your life that's going to energize you, that's going to give you excitement, that's going to make you passionate about it? Because here's the other thing. The universe feels the energy coming off of the request, not so much the words. So if I'm saying, I would really like to create a 3-week vacation. I want a 3-week vacation. So that's one way. The other way, which I know will help the universe to really hear what it is that I would like to create, is by feeling it. So I close my eyes and I say, this is how I would love to live for the 3 weeks. I'd love to have, and I feel what it would feel like to wake up in the morning for 3 weeks straight with no commitments, to maybe be in a beautiful place if I wanted to travel over my vacation, or to experience the kinds of things I like to experience when I'm on vacation. I like to experience feeling free and flexible and no structure around me. So I imagine myself waking up and asking myself, oh, how would I like this day to unfold? And then getting clear on what I want to put in that day. When you come at it from the experiences and allowing yourself to feel it, your energy gets heightened, it gets expanded. And that is what goes out into the universe to say, this is what I want. This is what I'd like to create. So remember to live into what it is that you desire. Really allow yourself to feel it, know it, taste it, hear it, bring all your senses into it, and then send it out to the universe. And wait for it to bloom. And it may come in all different packages. So the other thing I want to say is don't get tied to how whatever you're asking for has to show up. Be open for it to show up differently based on what the universe is always going to give you what it thinks is best for you. Several times I've heard speakers, coaches, people that are known say, I could never have imagined the life I'm living now. Like, I know that I'm being led. I know that I'm being driven. I know that I'm being gifted, because it's so much more than they could have held for themselves. So when you put out your requests for the universe, I would always add, and whatever else you think will really serve me. Because a lot of times our human minds don't know everything that can serve us, or it has a limitation of knowing what could serve us. But the universe lives in possibilities. It knows everything that's available for us, and so can give it to us in a way that we might not have been able to imagine it. So remember to put that at the end of whatever you're intending, or whatever else might be able to support me. I hope this has been helpful for you today. I look forward to any comments. If you liked the video or got a nugget of insight or wisdom, just put a thumbs up or a heart next to it. Thank you.